What's up guys? One unfortunate thing I see across all ages, probably more so with older individuals and specifically with men, is the neglect on training the glutes. I also am seeing this to be the case with people who are training on a total gym or standing bench trainer because they either are settling with lower body exercises that aren't really targeting that area in a very efficient manner. Either they don't have a whole lot of time, they don't know any other exercises, but primarily they just aren't aware of just the value in just training this large and very important muscle group in our bodies. So in this video, I want to stress the importance, regardless of your age in life or your situation or whatever modality you're using, to really stress and take time in your training program to emphasize your glute training. So I'll discuss briefly why it's important, how to engage them, and then throw in some exercises and some tools to hopefully help you guys out. All right, now your butt muscles or your glutes are really comprised of three distinct muscles: glute maximus, glute medius, and glute minimus. And together they help aid and help contribute to a number of different exercises and movements that our body produces below the hip joint, and also help stabilize stuff above the hip joint, which we'll get into. But primarily I want to talk about two important joint motions that we're dealing with exercises. First and foremost is hip extension. So anytime my hips are coming back this way, or anytime I'm coming up from a squat or up from a hinge pattern like a deadlift type of a pattern, our glutes are a major primary mover. And then secondarily, maybe hip adduction, bringing our hips off to the side this way. Those two big joint motions in the hip are primarily where we're gonna see the major focus in our glute muscles. So aside from those two major movements, the glutes are really there and play a big role in just bridging the gap between the upper and lower body. They are essentially a big hip stabilizer and just stabilize our spine in general. When you consider that their primary function is a role in hip extension, they play a primary role in propulsion, or just moving ourselves forward in just our walking and our gait, and just also power production. And the glute maximus is the largest muscle in the body, so it kind of makes sense that this muscle does a lot and should not be neglected. Unfortunately, that's exactly what most people are doing just by nature of our sedentary culture. We're sitting in chairs all day, we're not using these musculatures. Whenever we are kind of working the lower body, we tend to focus, possibly gravitate towards the largest muscle group of muscles, the quadriceps, and rely on those to kind of propel ourselves or just take over when we're doing any kind of lower body exercise. So the solution to this, and what I want to focus on this video, is how to engage and incorporate more of an emphasis of this body part in our training. The first general tip on how to engage this musculature is to first and foremost do some isolated glute training. The glutes are involved in all multi-joint leg exercises from like deadlifts and squats and lunges, but if you're not used to feeling them or engaging them, it is a good idea to find some isolation glute exercises, especially if you got like a total gym or a standing bench trainer. And in the backdrop of this video, you guys are seeing some of my main staple of exercise that I like to gravitate towards. So you guys are seeing a combination of multi-joint and single joint exercises, all incorporating either hip extension or hip adduction. But with that said, if your focus is on really building your glutes, then I really think the isolated work should be your prime emphasis in your training. And a total gym or standing bench trainer really has no shortage of isolated exercises. I've made plenty of exercise videos in the past that I can link down below and kind of show you guys. The main thing is, again, that you're really focusing on that muscle group. Even whether it's multi-joint or single joint exercises on this equipment, people tend to just kind of think about just pressing, and I think in the nature of the glide board, people I think less emphasize the fact of working their glutes. So you guys are seeing some clips in this video, you'll see myself kind of raising my hips off the glide board to help give myself a little bit more extension in my hip, and just to kind of help me kind of enforce engaging my glutes as I'm pressing through an exercise. But I'm strongly also encouraging in this video to get off the machine, do some things like deadlifts, some body weight squats, do some of these isolated leg exercises. I'm actually highly considering this for some time, picking up one of those like foam pads and doing some heavy glute bridges with like the barbell. I think weighted glute bridges are actually one of the best exercises you can do, especially if you want to add some external weight and really build your glutes that way. And this leads me on to my next point. Aside from actually doing some isolated leg work to help kind of reinforce and engage your glutes again, is really just kind of keep thinking about them. So as I was just saying, if you're doing some of these traditional multi-joint, either total gym exercises or off the machine, even body weight squats or deadlifts and stuff like that, I'm always trying to think that anytime my hip just starts to bend, I'm telling myself that my glutes are gonna be playing a role. You guys are seeing some backdrop footage here of me doing my standard, my leg press machine, my vertical leg press machine, which I'll link that down below. I love doing that in my lower body days to supplement my total gym training. Even on that machine, I'm not doing a whole lot of stuff standing up, but still my glutes are involved. I'm not getting as much range of motion or extension in my hip, but even at that position, what I'm really focusing in on is, as much as my hip is flexed at this bottom position, I'm trying to think a lot of that pressure and thought coming from obviously my glutes, but also that lower upper part of my hamstring. And that area right there, as you guys are seeing me kind of emphasize and drill that down, that low position of that leg press, this is what I'm thinking about pressing through and driving through as I go into hip extension. And so you guys are seeing a lot of my favorite exercises here, but with that said, I can't give you a specific best of exercises because everyone's a little bit different. Even for myself, some days doing things like squats, even body weight squats, I can kind of dial in that tension with a given range of motion or intensity or weight. But for some people, when they start loading up the barbell, maybe they have lower back pain, maybe their knees start taking over. So you kind of be strategic in those exercises you choose and how you want to combine them together. Once you kind of find those exercises that work for you and that give a range of motion, allow you to feel that tension and stress start to build up, simply just repeat that for like 2 to 3 exercises, maybe at 3 sets, for whatever range that is working in that particular day. And just trying to hit them, again, twice a week, just kind of along with your lower body, and just kind of mix these things into your leg day or do some stuff on the upper body day or just spread it throughout the week. And these areas of the glutes are a big muscle. They can handle a lot of punishment. They can do a lot of repetitions and volume. So if you want to kind of spread it out, doing some daily infrequent training or hitting those areas, that'd also be a good idea. And for me, as much as I'm preaching this, I know personally, I find it hard to just do some isolated work. So generally, as much as I know I should be doing more, I tend to just stick to focusing on them whenever I work my lower body. But that's really it, guys. Wanted to give you guys some general thoughts, some important tips to take home, and again, some exercises here in the backdrop that you guys can incorporate on your total gym and off the total gym. If you guys have something that really works for you, maybe it's a device, a certain method of training that really helps and build your glutes, let me know. Otherwise, guys, that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.